Good afternoon. You're watching AB Live, a brand new news-based chat show in which we discuss topics ranging from news, politics, and so much more. And on today's episode, we will be discussing the Filipino economy and the impact it has on the UAE. And with us in the studio, we have Janice, who is the UAE head of sales for Ayalaland. And we also have Abdulghani Salappudin from the SPDA. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Right, so firstly, welcome to the studio. We're really happy to have you here. So I'm going to start with you, Janice. Tell us more about Ayalaland and what it does.
Ayalaland is one of the biggest real estate developers in the Philippines. We've had a presence in the United Arab Emirates since the past 5 years. We are a small team with a couple of delegates flying periodically to check the terrain, say hello to existing clients, act as support, provide support to existing clients. We hold activities here where we talk about current projects, and tangentially, we also talk about the Philippine economy and what's happening because we are so closely related. Our activities are so closely related to the Philippine economy and what's happening there.
Right. So what is the connection to the UAE then?
Well, the UAE has been home to a lot of Filipinos for the past decades. And we are right now officially the 5th among all nationalities in terms of who the expats are here. The UAE has been good to us. From 20 years ago, when I first came here, we were, what, 250,000? Now it's hovering around 750,000. Let me repeat, making us the 5th in terms of nationality, in terms of the number here in the United Arab Emirates alone.
Great. So I'm coming to you, Abdulghani, right now, or Jerry, as I can call you that. So SPDA, the Southern Philippines Development Authority, what exactly is the role that it plays here in the UAE?
Well, first and foremost, let me acquaint you with what is the Southern Philippines Development Authority. It is actually a government-owned and controlled corporation. It's a corporate entity. The mandates and charter of SPDA is so very broad. It can go into any trade and investment opportunities. No? Its field of concentration is on land development, agriculture, infrastructures, exploration of oil and natural resources. Of course, it has also social responsibility of helping in the socio-economic rehabilitation program of the Moro revolutionaries of the MNLF and the MILF.
Right.
And the Southern Philippines Development Authority was created way back during the time of President Marcos when the Moro rebellion in Mindanao broke out.
Right. So, since we're talking about trade here, essentially, so can you shed more light on the bilateral trade relations between the UAE and Philippines?
Well, as far as bilateral trade between the Philippines and the United Arab Emirates, per record, the UAE is the 17th largest trading partner of the Philippines.
Right.
And the challenge now between our two countries is how to increase the level of activities and exchanges between the United Arab Emirates and the Philippine government. And that is why we are here, because we want to promote further the trade exchanges between our two countries.
All right, excellent. So I think Ayalaland has a very crucial role to play there, considering your offices are here, so you have a direct connection with the people themselves. So speaking about the investment opportunities that the Philippines has to provide to the people in the UAE, be it Emiratis or be it the OFWs, what would it be?
Well, Ayalaland is a real estate developer. We develop estates. We put up condo buildings. We put up projects where you buy houses and lots. So the Filipinos living here ultimately would want to go home. A lot of them would want to migrate in another country, but if you speak to a majority of them who live here, their final destination was really in the Philippines. And when we engage them, we talk to them. They tell us about their final destination. They tell us about their final plans. In the end, we talk about the projects, our projects, the real estate investments that they could get into.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are the different types of projects?
By the way, if I may butt in, no? Ayala is also into retailing.
That's right.
Putting up malls.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So
they're almost into anything, banking, and things like that.
That's
aside
right.
from the real property development.
But 80% though of our revenues are really property development.
Property development.
So we're really known for our condominiums, houses and lots, and the Filipino community here in the United Arab Emirates have been loyal customers.
Right. So in terms of the market proportion right now, speaking of that, or what is the percentage of people you get from this part of the world? Doesn't have to be just the UAE, but the region in general, from the GCC and Middle East.
In terms of international sales, I think we're close to 20% in terms of performance last year.
Right.
At least Ayalaland International Sales, 20% of the sales would have come from the Middle East.
Oh
Filipinos.
wow, that's a huge number.
That's
and
right.
do you have the amount specifically for that?
Yeah, we 90 million dirhams was our gross sales last year.
And that is just from the UAE, yeah?
That's right. Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
A handful from, say, Oman, a handful from Saudi Arabia, but predominantly United Arab Emirates.
But majority from the UAE. Great. So now we've spoken about real estate briefly. I'd like to ask you, Jerry, apart from real estate, what are the other investment opportunities that the Philippines has to offer to the UAE and this market?
We have tourism, hotel and tourism industry. We have lots of many beautiful beaches in the Philippines, and because Southern Philippines Development Authority covers the entire of Mindanao, so I will be doing injustice if I will not be talking so much about Mindanao. With the signing of the peace agreement between the government and the MILF, the enactment into law of the Bangsamoro Organic Law by the Congress of the Philippines, and just 2 Fridays ago, President Duterte inaugurated the Bangsamoro government in Cotabato City. It's going to be a parliamentary federal system, just like the federal system in the United Arab Emirates.
Okay.
No? So we believe that it is high time to put Mindanao in the map of the world, that Mindanao is ready for investment.
All right, so it looks like that's going to be a trade hub and a trade city
Yes,
soon.
yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's great news coming from there. But apart
And
from
with the Islamic character of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, we firmly believe we can easily relate to our Arab brothers and sisters from the Middle East as far as investment opportunities.
Right, I was just going to ask, because we've heard about Mindanao. Marawi has been in the news for a while now, considering given the situation and the war-torn situations there. But right now that it is being developed into a city, and we know that the population there is predominantly Muslim, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So isn't that going to be a key USP to attract the people, especially from this region?
Yes, that is. We are just actually retracing our historical linkage to the Middle East. It can be recalled in history that Islam was brought by Arab traders to the Philippines through Mindanao. And my mission here is not just to promote trade, but to reconnect the historical past of how our people were linked up through, our faith. But as far as Islam does not only do business with Muslims. We do business with anybody that can, invest in our region, provide business opportunities, employment to our people, because it is one of the recipes to help stabilize the peace that we have in Mindanao.
All right, that's really great to hear. So now we know what the government is doing in Mindanao to promote trade essentially. But talking about the real estate market in general, coming to you, Janice, I would love to know what are the measures that are being taken by the government to attract investors from around the world to the Philippines?
The Philippines, for the past years, have been experiencing steady growth. We have released, like every other country, our GDP numbers, and we really see that it's hovering always in the 6.5 above % every year. We are one of the fastest growing countries in that part of the world, in the Far East. But the Philippines real estate industry is mature. We really have laws that would protect not just Filipino but foreign buyers as well. So in terms of promotion, tangentially, we are being promoted through the infrastructure investments that the current government is doing.
Right. So you mentioned that there are laws to protect the interest of the investors from different parts of the world. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, we it's a mature legal system. We have civil law, property laws, sales laws, torts, damages, where foreigners and Filipinos really have recourse to our courts. And they will be protected equally under the eyes of the law.
Right. So, Jerry, coming to you now, we've seen how investors from the Arab countries are going to the Philippines and how the government has opened its doors essentially for them. But how about the other way around? Do we also see a lot of Filipinos coming here to the region? They obviously come as OFWs, but then investing in this region as well.
Of course. That will be the second or third step. We already have too many nationals here in the United Arab Emirates. And some of them are already into, well, I would say small and medium scale businesses. They have already even organized their Philippine Business Council.
Okay.
And in fact, the other night, I was even invited as one of their speakers and presenters during that night. So it only shows that our Filipino nationals here are not only into working. And mind you, many of the Filipinos here in United Arab Emirates are really the executive type. Not much of the domestic helpers like the ones in Saudi Arabia. They are really of the middle class.
Right.
And I firmly believe with the blossoming of trade between the United Arab Emirates and the Philippines, it works both ways. Beneficial to the UAE and beneficial to the Philippine government. And as had been mentioned by Janet, the Philippines is one of the fastest and steady growing economy, even among the Southeast Asian countries.
Right, so we have seen that the Philippines has been attracting a lot of investors, and we've read a lot of stories about how it is becoming one of the top destinations, especially for investors. What I want to know is why and how.
The returns are there. So when we talk investments, there's always the risk factor and the return factor. So the investors have decided that the returns really outweigh the risks. I do have to repeat that the real estate industry is a mature industry, and all the economic fundamentals of the country has been sound for the past years.
Right. And speaking specifically, the luxury tourism industry, especially in luxury real estate industry, has been blossoming a lot. And I think there was another study that said that it is Manila especially is world #1 when it comes to luxury tourism and luxury homes. So, so how does that fit into the entire aspect? Considering we know the lifestyle, we know the way the Arab investors are leaning towards, which is again a lot has to do with luxury. So. How exactly is that helping in this entire sphere?
Well, it's helping in the sense that that kind of lifestyle can always be transported to the Philippines. That kind of luxurious lifestyle that a lot of the Arab nationals, a lot of the other expatriates here, they could enjoy that back home. They can golf, they can surf, they can explore our ancient touristic sites, they can scuba dive. Condé Nast has even awarded us continuously, again, this year, among all the islands in Asia, we occupy three of the 5 rankings, top island destinations in the world.
Right, so clearly there are attractions there. But now we did speak about how the government has opened up measures and it's been a gateway to attract investors. But in the UAE as well, we've seen a number of new rules and laws coming in. For example, we've seen the 100% foreign ownership law, we've seen the 10-year visa rules coming in, which are essentially steps to attract trade from different parts of the world. We saw the FDI results were announced recently, which said that there's been a huge 43% jump in FDI in itself. So I would like to ask you, Jerry, in terms of what the government in the UAE is doing to open up the doors, how will it pave way for Filipino investors to come in?
It can be facilitated through meetings between our concerned agencies. In fact, the President of the Philippines is planning to come to the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Wow.
And that is why the Department of Tourism and, of course, the Southern Philippines Development Authority are busy collaborating in preparing something so that when the President comes, there is something going to be signed and agreed between our government and the United Arab Emirates. No?
Right, and do we know when he will be coming?
It's still being planned.
Okay.
Still being planned. No?
All right.
But certainly this is one of the priority destination of the President.
Right. And is there
Yes.
an agenda that has been prepared for this particular meeting?
Yes.
Especially with regards to trade and commerce.
Yes, yes.
So, can you reveal what the agenda is?
Well, not exactly. I meant it privately.
I'm just fishing here.
Yes.
Right. So, again, Jerry, just continuing the conversation about trade and commerce. We spoke about real estate. We spoke about a little bit about agriculture, etc. But in terms of investment opportunities, two other things that I have been noticing and reading in the papers about Philippines is gold, which is obviously a sphere where investment can take place. And second is stock market. So, do you think there is more being done to delve into these arms of investment as well?
Maybe Janet can answer it better. Stock market.
Well,
Ayala is into it.
we're publicly traded, and I know anecdotally that a lot of Filipinos have diversified portfolios. Not only do they invest in real estate back home, they also play the stock market. So a lot of financial literacy gurus from the Philippines have been making Dubai as a stop. They would hold big talks in, say, the auditorium in Garud, where they talk about top stock pickings, how to invest either aggressively or prudently. But it's also, again, a mature industry back home, our stock exchange. And surely, in terms of promotion, I think our fundamentals, other people do it for us. We'd have people like you, we'd have economists, Bloomberg, talking about the stock exchange, that it's steady, reliable.
All right, great. So you mentioned.
And by the way, no, in the Philippines there are two stock exchanges. One is located in Ortigas, and the other one is in the Ayala Center
That's
in Makati.
right.
Okay. Oh,
So
wow.
they're not stranger to the stock exchange
Yeah,
business.
all right. So
Yeah.
you're home to one of the stock
Yes.
exchanges in the Philippines.
That's right.
How about gold, though? Is there a lot of investment happening in gold?
Gold mining?
Yeah.
Well, the Philippines is one of the most gifted country when it comes to gold.
Yeah.
No, there are gold deposits in many parts of the country, especially in Mindanao, in the Davao region, particularly in the Compostela Valley province. No, it is said the gold in the Philippines is more than enough to pay all the debts of the Philippines.
Okay.
If properly managed by our government. Yes.
All right, so there is a lot of scope there, obviously. But you did mention the financial literacy program, which we've seen coming here in the Philippines as well. But it also has a lot to do with remittances, where you're educating the Filipinos here to save money and send it back home.
Yes, yes.
And remittances do constitute a huge amount of the GDP of the nation. So in terms of global remittances, you said that you have some interesting insights to share about that.
Well, as of 2017, $28 billion were remitted by Filipinos living overseas to the Philippines. And out of that, 28% had come from the Middle East.
Okay.
From Filipinos living in Saudi Arabia, from the United Arab Emirates. And we cannot stress enough how this has helped prop up our economy, balance our balance of payments, raise the standard of living to the households that these Filipino overseas foreign workers have left to work here, who are home, consuming the money, spending it, investing it wisely back into the Philippines. We are eternally grateful to all the Filipinos who have left a lot of loved ones back home, continue to work in other countries.
And remit their
Remit their
income to the Philippines.
Right.
Actually, the OFWs are called the new heroes.
Yeah, the noble heroes, yes, that's been
of
seen,
the Filipinos, because their monthly remittance from the different parts of the globe had kept up the economy of the Philippines afloat. And it cannot be overemphasized, but they really are contributing hugely to the economy of our country. That is why it is only right that whenever our president goes on a foreign visit, especially to the Middle East, one of the audiences that the president will always talk to are the OFWs.
Right.
And President Duterte has big plans for the OFWs. He's even planning to put up banks for the OFWs. and many other amenities to service the foreign workers that are working in different parts of the globe.
All right, that's actually great to hear, and we are looking forward to the visit of President Rodrigo Duterte whenever he is here, and we look forward to covering that at length. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for sharing those valuable insights. This truly has been very informative for us. And thank you for watching AB Live. We will be back again next Tuesday.